So, hello and welcome to this special event honoring the inner child through the wisdom of animals and oracles with our guest, Barbara Techel of Joyful Paws. I'm Christine Noble-Seller. I'm your host for this interactive workshop, and I'm joining you from my home, as I mentioned, in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. And I am honored to work as an animal and nature communication advocate and activist. I'd like to introduce you to our special guest today, Barb. Well, dogs have played a pivotal role in Barb's healing journey over the last 25 years. It was the intention she set in 2014 to open herself up to the wisdom of all animals, that she hadn't given thought to a creature she feared. And so it was that she was invited to dance with the wisdom of Snake. It was Snake who gently encouraged her to examine a deeper aspect of herself that she had suppressed for over 2 decades. This invitation from Snake led Barb to give voice to a childhood trauma, which would eventually set her free from a feeling of unworthiness that had plagued her for far too long. Along her journey, she'd also met a white wolf who encouraged her to keep her heart open, Horse, who helped her step into her power, and Spider, who inspired her to release yet another layer that needed healing. Partnering with animals to receive life-changing wisdom is what led Barb to guide people to not only connect deeper with themselves, but also to deepen their bond with animals. Barb's written 3 memoirs, 2 children's books about her healing journey, and in her newest creation, which we will be working with today, the Animal Reflections Healing Oracle Deck, she offers intuitive oracle card readings for people and their pets. Barb believes we all deserve to be seen, heard, and held in compassion. And when we do the necessary inner work and shift into a more balanced state of being, this is what organically creates a ripple effect that leads to more harmony and peace for all beings on the planet. Welcome, Barb.
Thank you so much, Christine. I'm so happy to be here. I could cry like when I hear that because I'm just amazed in part that all these animals have helped me, along the way, and that I get to share that with others. So it's always like, I'm like, really, that's been my journey?
But it's fun to reflect it back, right?
Yeah,
to like
right,
own
right.
it and hear it from a different perspective.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
oh, we have another hello in the chat, so we'll do that before we move on. And this is a dear friend of mine. Hello from Annie, our Scottish lass, who's joining us from Denmark. Hi, Annie. So today, partial proceeds, 35%, are going to a beneficiary. Do you want to tell us about this beneficiary, the name and why you chose them, and what's your connection with them, Barb?
Yeah, the Wisconsin, I'm going to forget it, the Wisconsin Wolf and Wildlife.
I think it's it's a lot of words. It's the Friends of the Wisconsin Wolf and Wildlife. There we go.
Thank you. Well, because I have such a deep connection with wolf, which makes sense because I have a very deep connection with dogs. And, wolf has just been so pivotal in guiding me in my life. Of course, it's on the cover of my Animal Oracle deck. And I just love the work that they do of education. Thank you. Educating children, about animals and how we need, especially wolves, just get such a bad rap. They get such a bad rap that they are bad creatures, and they're not. So I just love the fact that they're trying to bring the wolf back in to our ecosystem because they are necessary. And then also just the fact that they're one of their focuses is educating children. And I'm very passionate about that because that is what I did for quite a few years with my dog. So we need the wolves. We need to live in harmony with all creatures, which include us animals as humans. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for thinking of the wolf. And obviously that's a meaningful connection, as you said, on your deck. I'm just so excited about today too. At some point, I know it was on the webpage that people signed up. I'm just going to trust it's going to come up. If there's space and time, I'll repeat how this special event came about through intuitive guidance and the intuitive guidance we got from your actual deck of what to do with this. because it was just like, this is the perfect way to honor Barb and her work and let you guys, experience the deck firsthand and the wisdom of animals and oracles. And the Friends of the Wisconsin Wolf and Wildlife are going to benefit. And I just love this huge ripple effect. It just fills me with joy. So a couple of tips for everyone here about how today's format's going to unfold so that you know what to expect and when. As I mentioned, I'll keep you muted for now. Thank you so much for putting everything in the chat. I'm just going to close the chat for now until we move to the Q&A portion of today. And that's just so that it's not distracting for Barb or I. So if there's anything that comes up that you want to ask about or share about, just please make note of it and bring that forward at the Q&A. So the first thing that we're going to do next is I have a bit of an interview with Barb, and that's really because I want to get to know her better, and I would like you to get to know her better. And then after that will be the experiential component where I hand over the workshop to Barb. That's so exciting. And she's going to pull cards for us. Well, she'll explain it, but she's going to give us guidance on the cards. She's going to give us writing prompts, and you're going to have an experience with the cards. Every part is delicious. So I love how it all comes together. And then we're going to have Q&A because, Barb not only wrote the book and created the deck, she also did all of the illustrations. So you might have questions for her. If you're comfortable and you want to share about the card experience or the wisdom that you received, you're welcome to do that. And then we end on yet another high note. We're going to have a live draw. One of you here today, or even if you're not here, but you signed up for today, somebody is going to win a free one-to-one reading with Barb. And because we didn't want to leave anyone out, I saw hands clapping there. Barb, I don't know if you saw them. Everybody is going to get a discount, and you can use that if you would like to have a one-on-one reading with Barb. And you have a choice of 2 different readings you can do. So that's basically today. And then we'll wrap up with a group goodbye and thank you. Does anyone have any questions about the format before we start? Everyone good? Okay, good stuff. So chat is, all right. So Barb.
Christine.
Do you feel like you're on the hot spot yet? On the hot seat? No, you're not. This is just going to be a lovely conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd love to learn more about you and everyone here and what your journey was. Like, what brought you to this point? Can you tell us a bit about that journey? You have a bit in the intro already. What is your connection with animals? Like, how did you become an author? What led you to this? Like, yeah, give us, how much time do we have?
It makes me giggle and laugh because that was not ever a plan. It was not on my radar at all. Though I will say I've always enjoyed writing, and I wrote in high school, and I've always had people say I really get to the heart in my writing. And like I said, I did not set out on this path at all, but in my early 40s, which I think a lot of us have experienced in our life or will experience, is we come to a point in our life and we're like, what am I here for? What am I, and as we get older, what's my legacy going to be? Are people going to remember me? Yeah, maybe that's a little more prevalent for me for not having children, but at any rate, it was when my little dachshund, Frankie, would become paralyzed from a disc disease that she had, that I realized I had this amazing, beautiful opportunity to educate not only children, but adults about, animals with special needs. And that just, it skyrocketed from there. I just one step led to another. And I should say before that, I actually, when I was in my early 40s, I worked with a life coach and decided I was going to pursue writing. And I was going to pursue writing about what I love most, which is animals that I could talk about all the time, 24 hours a day. And then, of course, Spirit has a way of helping you along the way. And that's when Frankie became, which seemed devastating at the time that she became paralyzed. And as I want to share this story because I just recently it popped into my memory again of I was really I felt like I was supposed to write this children's book about her, but yet I was afraid. I don't know anything about publishing. I didn't want to wait for a publisher. I wanted to get the story out there, but blah blah blah. I had all these doubts. And one day I had her at our little farmer's market, and she was in her wheelchair, and a little boy came up to us, and he kneeled down by Frankie and was petting her. And he said, "It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, it's what's on the inside." And I thought, wow, there was another message from Spirit. I was meant to write this book, and it just took off from there. So, I mean, through the years, it's been dogs that have guided me. It's like each dog has helped me kind of level up and heal all these different layers that I needed to heal. And I just really want to like honor that and call attention to each one of those if I can. Just very briefly. So my first dog, that dog actually, prompted me to want to begin writing about dogs and animals. But when she had terminal cancer, one of her gift to me was I realized how she was living with joy even though her end was nearing. And I thought, how do we do that? How do I do that as well? And then Frankie, of course, writing the two children's books about her and then writing a memoir about her. What she really helped me in the beginning with was, growing my self-confidence. And I thought she didn't worry what she looked like in a wheelchair. What am I worrying? What other people think about me? And that's another thing, never on my radar to become a public speaker. I am very much an introvert. I guess I'm not so shy anymore, but I was super, super shy. So Frankie helped me bring that out in me, my true self. And then I adopted another dog with disc disease and I got her a wheelchair because I thought I was going to continue the work I did with Frankie, but Joey would pass away 9 months later. And I realized what had happened was I was ignoring this little inner niggle within me that I was supposed to slow down and just really allow what was to come to me next of what my next purpose was. But that's so hard to do as human beings because we think we're just supposed to be going and figuring it out right away. So that was her gift to me. And then Gidget, I would adopt a third disabled dog, little dachshund again. Had no idea the depth that she would take me to helping me heal this emotional wound that I carried consciously since I was 29 years old of being touched inappropriately as a child. And she really mirrored for me this invasive wound because she just was like this Velcro dog, and I just didn't understand what was happening, and it sometimes would drive me crazy because she was so what I described at the time as needy, but she was trying to shake loose that I needed to give voice to this trauma that had happened to me because I had carried this vision, and I thought, how can that be real? And I didn't have proof, and the person that had hurt me was gone. Who's going to believe me? The whole 9 years. So Gidget helped me with that. And that was big. I mean, I felt at that time that I was having a breakdown. I thought I was losing my mind. I wrote about this in my last memoir. I'm fine just the way I am. And but realizing that by giving voice to that, I actually set myself free. That this was the truth. I was honoring my inner child who was trying so hard to be seen and heard. And then along would come White Wolf, and she would help me to keep my heart open when it wanted, when we're in pain, whether it's emotional, physical, we want to close that down. And then of course, Snake was just, this is stuff you can't even imagine in your wildest dreams is gonna, a dead snake, a dead mama snake off the end of my driveway and her 4 perished babies was going to take me on this journey. She was just the most beautiful snake I had ever seen, and just the most beautiful green I had ever seen. And little did I know, she was the one that would help me to give voice, finally voice that out loud to a very good friend, which just totally came out of the blue. I didn't expect it to happen. But when I did, it was like this out of body experience that I felt, whoa, like I can't even describe it in words. What? I just felt free. I felt free. And then as I continued to work with that trauma, I would work with a horse named Ollie, who actually helped me step into my power. While I don't really have like a fear of horses, I had a fear of their size. But that was so key because it was about helping me, like I said, to step into my power. And so that's all in my latest memoir. But then after that, I would have Spider that would come along, and she would help me release more of that trauma. Because I always saw spiders as fast and sneaky and dirty and creepy. And I would realize through doing this really cool exercise with Spider that like that was the shadow aspect of Spider. But the other side of Spider I saw is Charlotte's Web, and how Charlotte in that book, The Spider, was an advocate for Wilbur. And I realized the little person in me was being an advocate for me as well. So, yeah. I mean, when I say all that out loud and hearing you, Christy, and sometimes I just go, wow, this is just stuff we could never imagine in our wildest dreams. Yeah. And not to say it was all easy, because, that was some tough, especially in our world where, when you talk about, animals guided me, and and how that all happened, that sounds strange, but I'm at a point in my life where I respect and honor these animals so very deeply, because I wouldn't be here as I am now and become who I've become if it wasn't for them.
I don't think it's strange in the least, and I
I know,
suspect a
I
lot
know
of people here don't think it's strange either. And I'm so grateful you took time to honor each animal and to hear their names and the experience. It's like diving deeper into your bio and fleshing it out, to hear about the dogs and the wolf and the snake, mama snake and her babies, and the horse. So and I think one of the things, as Barb and I have been getting to know each other over the last year, is that we have a lot of similarities in our stories about, animals coming and being our helpers and guides and helping us heal. And this workshop just felt so important to share, because the two of us are certainly not the only ones. Yeah. So in your work, Barb, one of the things that you do, because she's, as I said, she illustrates it. I just bought one of her pieces of original art yesterday. I'm so excited.
Lion.
Yeah, lion. And it wasn't just the lion. Do you ever know when you see something and you just connect with it? It was the story that Barb wrote about the lion and how the lion came into physical being, this clump of leaves for the mane. And it was all of it. Do you want to just share the quick story about
I do.
lion?
I just love how
yeah.
Yeah. I go for a walk every morning, and there's a small wooded area that I walk by, and I saw this clump of oak leaves laying on the path. And in one aspect, I was kind of sad because it had dropped early. It was earlier, like in September. And then the second day I walked by, and they were still in that same exact spot. And all of a sudden I saw them, that they looked like they would make a great mane for a lion. That's what it went. Well, that's silly. That's silly, Barb. My logical mind takes over, and I should know better by now. So I, went on my walk, and the next day they're still there again. And then I'm like, okay, you're supposed to come home with me. I'm supposed to do this. But I think it's just another example how the outside world speaks to us, but we're not taught to listen in that way. And I just had so much fun putting that together. And then Christine, when you came through, and I just felt, I could feel like, oh my gosh, this is totally the right person this is supposed to be going to. even though I had like a really hard time shipping that out to you yesterday. I didn't want to let it go. But, I have that beautiful experience. And that's how I want to continue creating art, is that it just comes to me in these ways, because to have that energy within those pieces of art, I just think is so important. And you just know, whoever it's meant to be for, it will be, for. So thanks for letting me share that, because it's so recent and it was so magical.
Well, it just came through because the story was kind of like that you needed to honor yourself, like your true self, not just your logical human thinking mind. Um, and just the strength of the lion to trust ourselves and to be ourselves. And I just really needed that reminder. And so that will be my visual reminder now.
And I love lion too. And I think I did share this with you, Christine. Lion has been with me since birth, which I had intuitive reader years ago do that reading, and it made so much sense to me. It didn't totally at the time, so I think I was, oh my gosh, was like around 55 when that happened. Now I'm thinking now I'm having a moment where I'm linking it together, because it would be shortly after that I would give voice to my trauma. And then that made sense to me that lion had been with me since birth, because it was going to take tremendous courage to do that, which it did. But she had told me then that year that lion would, oh my gosh, I'm just connecting it. And that's how this works. It comes together in the most, you don't know when this is going to all link up together, and then you see the bigger picture. But it made sense now, because lion was with me again that year. And again, having come in at birth. But it also became really important to me with lion, the message of, because I remember when giving voice to my trauma, I thought that I was supposed to tell everybody. And that just felt so incredibly scary to me. Where in actuality, it is what ended up happening. I did share it in my book, but I shared it in the way that felt right for me. Because for me, it wasn't, I ended up forgiving this person and having very deep compassion for this person. Just how, they must be just as wounded, we're all wounded in some aspect. But how important lion is, that it's about giving voice to it for ourselves, what pain that we carry within us. It doesn't have to go out to all of the world, but if you feel called to do that as well, I have no doubt it will help others. But it can be a loud roar, or it can be a quiet roar, whatever is right for you.
I love that. A loud roar, a quiet roar. And I will get to this next question. We keep, going where we're guided. I just want to honor one thing, and then we'll go into the next question.
Yeah.
There is a lot of big cat energy around, not only because you've created this. Last Saturday, some of the people even here were participants in my practice group with Panthera Africa, big cat sanctuary, and we spoke to a lioness and we spoke to a leopard. And some of you here again are taking a course with Tammy Billups, who's also a friend of Barb's, Sacred Soul Contracts. And I provide Zoom support. And at the beginning of the course, we've done 3 weeks, she pulls a card and tells us which animal is guiding us and walking with us. And it's lioness. So I just want to mention there's a lot of big cat energy. So back to you, Barb. So one of the many things, as I said, I started by you being an artist as well. You offer intuitive oracle card readings for people and their animals. So I'd like to learn more about these readings, and why do people come to you for these readings? What do they look like? What do people get out of them?
Well, I think the reason people come to me for readings is they can connect with some form of my energy, some sort of understanding, even though they may not clearly know it at the time. But you just know. I've worked with people who've done readings over the years. I've had, worked with other people that helped me along my journey, and it's just their energy I'm connected to. So I forgot what your question was.
Well, basically to tell us about these readings, like what happens in a reading, and what do people get out of the readings?
Thank you. So my favorite readings, I like to do all readings, but I really love to do readings for people and their animal friends. because for me, I've personally experienced this time and time again, how the animals are here mirroring for us at different points in our life what it is we need to understand about ourselves, what we need to heal. And I really believe we're healing in layers. And I absolutely believe without a doubt, because I've experienced it and I see it in the readings I do for others, is that our animals are trying to help us heal those things. And it doesn't have to be a big trauma. It can be a little trauma. It can, be anything that you're feeling challenged by. And it really came to the forefront for me, or it's coming to the forefront now about how our dogs and our animals reflect these emotional wounds that we carry, while at the same time, it's helping them to heal something within themselves. And it's interesting, as I had written my last memoir, after I wrote that is when it came into my existence that Tammy Billups was out here doing this work. And I remember writing to her and I said, you just wrote my story. What you are doing, I've lived that. I totally understand that. And that's how we connected. But so animals, will reflect mirror for us through their emotional, I think we all know this, emotional or behavioral, physical issues. And this is what I realized with my dog Gidget, especially. She really brought that to the forefront. And it just became so clear to me that animals mirror that for us, and that they're trying to help us and guide us and walk us through, releasing that, which is often comes from an inner child wound that we need to look at. So during the time I was, putting this all together, well, going through this with Gidget, I should say, I was also studying oracle cards. There was a time, I think I mentioned that when Joey had passed away and I took this sabbatical, I stopped everything I was doing. I took a sabbatical and I would journal every day. And it was like the second day of my journaling, I said, I'm going to incorporate oracle cards in here. And I was just blown away by whatever I was feeling that day, whatever I was journaling with, or if I had to, there was something I was feeling stuck on, I would pull a card and it would totally mirror where I was at. So I married the two together. And so as I've done my readings for, I've done readings for myself, I've done readings for others. And I thought maybe I'll just give you a few examples. I had a woman and her dog Max, who was elderly and, was probably in the transition phase at that point. And she was really struggling with how to best support him. She was struggling with the fact that he was aging. And I think we can all relate to that. I can relate to that. Having to let go of a pet is so emotional and so difficult. So she came to me for a reading. And what ended up happening as we worked through this reading was that Max was mirroring for her, because she was dealing with some chronic issues and she aging as well. He was mirroring that for her. So she was actually struggling with that within herself. And as she worked with that, she actually could open her heart even bigger to support her dog Max in his aging process. And she didn't see it as a negative any longer, that there was something so beautiful to experience within that as well. So what I do in my readings is I have an intake form that I have people fill out. So I get to know a little bit about you. I get to know a little bit about the animal. And then when we come together in the reading, there's different questions that I will pose, because I want to look at where you are internally. I want to look at where the animal is internally. I want to look at that as a relationship together, because it is a relationship, just like with a human being. Another example is a recent reading that I had with this very special little kitty cat, where the first card that we pulled was No Place Like Home. So the person having the reading was in transition of, worrying about her cat possibly being in transition. Does she leave or does she go from her current location? And it was just, when that card was pulled, I just totally felt like this warm sense come over me that animals, no matter where they are, if they are with you, that is all that is important. that no place like home is within your heart. So that's a recent reading, just still has stayed with me and just really touched me. And then another recent reading, a woman was trying to make a choice about her pet. And one of the very last cards I will pull during a reading is a specific message from the pet. And the card was choice, get off the fence. And it was so clear that because that's what was happening. This person had to make a choice in order for the animal to feel comfortable, in order for herself to feel comfortable. I'm kind of just looking at my notes here because I know I can kind of go all over the board, but that's what I do, because what I love about oracle cards is it's something very tangible, because it's speaking through symbols and images, and not only for me as an intuitive, but it's also for the person getting the reading. There's always something in there. I can't tell you how many times I see, I'll pull a card around, a specific question, and it's like this, because you see it, it's like our animals mirroring us. In the cards, you see it reflected back at you, like, because our minds are so powerful at trying to block different perspectives, when in fact, that's the very perspective that we need to see. So for me, everything is energy. And for me, I just love the tangible piece of the oracle card, because it's like proof. It's like proof there right in front of you that you can't deny it. I hope that all made sense. Sometimes I have a really hard time explaining how this all works and how I do this. Yeah.
I followed, and I definitely saw some head nods. I think your examples were really beautiful to help show us. And I know you do different types of readings as well, because some people here might not be living with animals or not at this point. And I love how you talked about the oracle cards, the imagery and the symbolism, so we can still benefit from the wisdom of the animals and oracles through cards,
Right.
or even the wildlife around us. It doesn't mean we have to have an animal companion.
Exactly. Exactly. And and I do oracle readings for people as well, just people without an animal friend. And it really is about getting to the emotional component of why you're feeling stuck, why you can't take a step forward, and it's very gentle, because like I said, in my experience, we are healing in layers. We have to be gentle with ourselves. We have to hold the self-compassion for ourselves. So I enjoy doing those as well. I just have more people come to me for the other type of reading. I think it's easier because we're, these are compassionate beings wanting to try to help their animal friend, while at the same time their animal friend is trying to help them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I'll just, I feels right to do the segue here. You may have read about it, those of you that have signed up. I'm just looking for a particular card. The story of how this event came through, and I'm just being nudged to share it now. So Barb had gifted me this deck, and I was so excited because, I have like 30 oracle card decks. I'm an oracle card fanatic. I even created 2 of my own decks.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah, they're sold out. I created 40 of each. That was just, I self-published, and that was fun. So, I had said on my website that, so I tried to upload a video to do a review. It was a great 7-minute video. I pulled a card, and Barb's like, oh, thanks. I see the video, but it has no sound. And I'm like, what? It has no sound. Oh no. So I took that down because that was not useful. And then I was going on a trip overseas. So the night before I left, I taped something, but didn't have a chance to upload it. And I thought I'll upload it while I was overseas. Well, I have a very old phone. And then I realized I didn't have any data for overseas. So I'm like, okay, that didn't work. And then when I wasn't striving, when I wasn't trying, when I was just out in one of my happy spots out in the woods walking cold dog, it was like, Christine, you hold events. Why not hold an event? And it will be even more fun than like me telling you about it. Like you can experience it. So Barb and I met, and she loved the idea.
Can I just add, when you sent me that note, I about jumped through the phone because I was so excited. Like, yes, let's do an event. This will be so fun.
Well, I left her on Facebook Messenger, you can leave all these messages. So I left her a bunch of messages that I have no idea if this is going to be. So we met on Zoom, and oh my gosh, where is this card? It must be at the very end. And Barb's like, I'll pull a card to help guide like what this event is going to be. And I can't find it, Barb.
I got it. I got it.
Okay, you got it. So who stepped forward? Highland Cow. And what did you say right about it? It was the only card that had like a parent figure and a child in the
Yeah,
whole
I
deck?
think I believe it is the only card that has that. So I knew right away because this is the mother cow, looking over her little baby. And of course, my deck is geared in some ways towards working with the inner child. So I thought, oh my gosh, that's perfect. And of course, the word on there is harmony. And that's how we've come into harmony with ourselves, is working with all these different aspects of self. So boom, there it came, the workshop.
Yeah. So Barb's like, there are a few other cards in the deck that have two animals, but this is a special. So it was like very, very clear.
Well,
So
oh, that's great. Let me add too, because this is about also, okay, the mom and the little the little cow. I can't think what to say.
half.
But it's our responsibility as adults, and I know this is hard sometimes. It took me a while to get this, but it is my responsibility to take that little one by the hand and let that little person know within me, it's okay, I got this now as an adult. And I'm not going to live from my habitual patterns that I have put in place as, that were protection, But I'm a big person now, and I'm gonna make sure that that little one within me feels safe and protected, and that they know it's okay. We've got this. We've got this.
So Barb's like, it's about the inner child. So that was just like, that's this workshop. That's what we're doing. And then can we share about the card we pulled just before we let everybody into the workshop today?
Yeah. Oh, that was so cool. See, I shouldn't be amazed anymore when this stuff happens, but that is why I love doing this, is because I'm continually living in this magical world when this happens, and now I can't find it, but it'll come. Okay, so is it at the front?
I don't know. I still haven't found I know which one it is. I'm going to look for it now too. We're all sorting through our decks.
Oh,
I
got
found it. Okay.
Thank you. So it was hippo and home, and hippo for me in the deck that I wrote in the guidebook, it's about being comfortable in your own skin. And when we're comfortable in our own skin, we come home to ourselves. So again, perfect.
So I think it's time for us to wrap up this interview section and dive shortly into the exercise, but just a few things. So we know you're an author and you shared about the books and what motivated you to write the book. So that was great. We know that this is your new Oracle deck and that you created the art, as I mentioned. So you've kind of touched on who or what inspired you to create this deck, but this is your very first deck. So what do you want to tell us about creating it? What's
Yeah.
behind it? What's happened as a result of creating it? I'd love to know.
Yeah. Oh. So this was a little seed that was planted about 8 years ago, about maybe considering doing my own Oracle deck by my original first life coach that was in 2004. And she keeps in touch with me now and then. And she said, I think you should create your own Oracle deck. And I was like, I don't know how to draw, blah, 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 blah. So I had all these self-doubts, and, I would block myself from doing it. And then it was about, let's see, took me a year and a half to put this all together. So about a little over 2 years ago, all of a sudden it just dropped in. Because I love to collage. At one point, I had gone through training as a soul collage facilitator, where it is all about collaging. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could collage my own deck. Duh. And then you couldn't stop me, and off I went. And I was part of another group. It was taught by an artist. And it was during that group, we were all creating our own Oracle cards. And each week or each month, we would talk about a different aspect of the tarot. And I realized, oh, I'd really like to incorporate the 21 major arcana of the tarot into my deck as well, which I did. Though I don't really make a point of that. I just know they're in there. Um, but of course, yeah, it was the animals that inspired me. And so far, which has been, I so appreciate the common comment that I get back about my deck is that it's very gentle. And that was just really important to me, that again, that we are gentle with ourselves in our healing process, because we heal in layers. And just it's like hugging yourself, and that's how I feel about the animals, even the ones I had fear about. It's just about being gentle with yourself. So to continually get that feedback just really means so much to me, because I think, through the deck, I want people to continue to be that for themselves, to honor themselves, to respect themselves, that they deserve to do this healing work and to feel better about their lives, and live from the true heart of who they are. So I'm just so glad I had so much fun putting this day. I actually missed that part of it, of the creating of it. I was just so involved with it. I just put everything else to the side, and I just had a blast. And I learned things along the way too. What animals am I going to put in here? Some I had really deep connections with, some I learned more about, and then marrying them with the 21 major tarot was so fascinating to watch that unfold too. How, I'd read about that arcana, and then I think about, well, what animal would fit within that, and then that came to be too. And snake is one of them. Snake is the tower in the tarot.
I love that sneak peek. And one more sneak peek as last question for the interview before we move into the part where we all get to write and get cards pulled. So you've written the books, you've created your first Oracle deck. What's next? Is there a next? Are you working on something now? Is there anything you could share with us? Can you give us a sneak peek if there's something
Well, I
happening?
did. No, I'm not going to tell you what I'm working on next. Nothing to do with art. I just hope I get this done in time. So I don't want to say in case I don't get it done in time. But if you want to stay tuned, you can, follow me in my newsletter. But yeah, I just continue to create art because as I can and as it comes to me. There's something so much different for me about art in the creative process than writing, because writing requires more of your attention, it seems. But when I do art, I just get lost. I just have no thought in my mind. And I just really appreciate that. So I'm continuing to do that. And I also just recently came out with a new type of reading, which is a written reading, about calling in your animal guide. So the specific reading is you have an animal guide with you at that time, whatever the challenges you're going through or you need help on. And then I pull cards from other decks to go with it, plus a nature element to go with it, because it just all brings it together. So that's where I'm at now. As far as whatever is next, I don't know other than that. We'll see what happens.
Thank you. You're exactly where you need to be. And I love hearing about all the different readings and that you're continuing to create. So, interview over. We all know more about Barb. Also, just to sort of put you at ease, and it's time for the card pull and the writing prompt. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Barb. I hope everybody has something to write with. Do you want to introduce it? Do you want me to introduce it? Do you want me to just turn it right over to you, Barb?
Oh, yeah, the part you were going to say, why don't you say that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, this is the part where Barb is going to pull some cards for all of us. She's going to give us some brief insight into them. However, it's important that we bring our own knowing, our own inner wisdom, our perspective to this. So she's going to give us a writing prompt, and this will be an opportunity for us to explore further with the animal and the oracle. And then we'll come together when we're done this whole exercise to discuss it. So you're going to
Perfect.
get a chance to discover your own personal messages, as well as the wisdom from
Yeah.
Barb.
I'm gonna work with 4 journaling prompts. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, over to you, Barb.
Okay, I'll take it from here. I just want to give a little brief summary first before we start, in case you are new to Oracle cards and working with animal wisdom. If not, this just might be a little bit of a refresher. But so Oracle cards and working with animal wisdom is really about guiding you to a higher perspective, you know, connecting to your wisdom within. And it's always, I know sometimes people are afraid to come to Oracle cards or like the tarot, but it's always about looking at it in a positive way, helping you shift in a positive way. And it's really meant, at least for me, it's meant to be a gentle form of inner care. That's how I look at it. This is inner self-care, I should say. And really to come to the cards with no judgment for the cards, or for yourself especially. And this is really about just expanding your heart, tapping in to what matters to you in your heart. So as I was preparing my notes for this, I decided to pull a card as well, which is just to give you an example of how we're going to work with this as in regards to our inner child. And it is Sandhill Crane. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck, though I probably say that about every one of them. But the message of balance in regard to the inner child work. And that, it's, to me, it's so amazing that Sandhill Crane has been here, they anywhere estimate between 2 and 6 million years. Just think about that wisdom that they carry with them. We have that within each one of us too. And that's a lot of times what our inner child is trying to help us with. But when we open ourselves, I just kind of wrote this down because that's what came to me. But when we open ourselves to exploring these issues that cause us stress, pain, or repeated habitual patterns that don't serve us for our highest good anymore, it's often linked to our inner child, and that inner child having not been seen or heard. And then that creates this imbalance within us. So Sandhill Crane is trying to help us come back into balance. And then the butterfly sitting on the beak is about it can be symbolic of transformation. And it's just inviting us, along with Sandhill Crane, to tap into that wise wisdom within all the different aspects of ourselves. And that together, by looking at all aspects of ourselves, we can live more harmoniously and in balance within ourselves. And I think it's also important to look at, I recently heard a therapist say this, how important it is to thank our habitual patterns that we put in place from something within our childhood, because that is what protected us and helped us feel safe. But it's not about blaming or shaming ourselves, for those patterns. We were doing the best that we could, but it's time to let go of that, let go of those blocks. So I am going to pull some cards, but first I just want to invite all of us maybe just to get a little bit grounded, whether you like to sit crossed-legged in your chair, or I don't like when people tell me to put my feet on the ground, because I like to sit with my legs crossed. So whatever is comfortable for you. And I just want us to take three breaths. So I want you to inhale and just exhale. And perhaps just picture your root chakra going deep down into the earth. Just connecting with Mother Earth as your grounding force. And then just take another breath in. And slowly let it out. And one more breath in. And let it out slowly. Beautiful. All right, so the first card that I'm going to pull is around the prompt, and if you want to write this in your journal, is how is your inner child feeling right now? How is your inner child feeling right now? So I'm going to pull a card for all of us around that. How is your inner child feeling right now? Oh, it is snake and transformation. Wow. So I'm going to give you 4 minutes to journal with this. And I just want, don't judge what's coming up and just write what is coming to you about snake. And after we're done, I will read from the guidebook with another addition to this, but I just want you to go with what your intuitive sense is right now. You have about 1 minute left just to finish up your thoughts. Okay. So now I'm gonna read the from the guidebook about snake and transformation. And for some additional insight, what often happens, going back to the guidebook, there'll be a word, there might be a sentence, there might be an overall sense of something about snake that also, from what I've written, that will add to your insight as well. So snake positioned at the top of the brick wall, gazing into a mirror, is a potent initiator, inviting you to investigate what it is you need to shed, in order to evolve into a new and more spacious phase of your being. We've all experienced times when it appears as if everything around us is crumbling. We may even feel as if a breakdown is about to occur. Snake encourages you to let go of control and fear while simultaneously embracing the turmoil within. The ground beneath you may feel unstable and uncertainty may loom large, but stay with this wave of insecurity while welcoming in the space of in between. You are on the verge of either rising above and into a new state of transformative awareness or staying stuck and trapped in an endless loop of struggle. Snake calls to you to dive deeper into that which scares you and shake loose the suppressed shadow within. In mustering up every bit of courage, trust, and strength, you give voice to whatever remains silent and hidden to emerge into a new way of being. The moment is here to shatter the illusion of victimhood, keeping you bound too tightly in a skin made of fear. Remember, you aren't falling into an endless abyss, but rather on the precipice of an exciting transformation about to occur. As you give voice to the buried pain, you will find yourself feeling lighter in spirit while also experiencing an expanded freedom you've not felt before. You will look in the mirror and be able to honor and respect how far you've come on your journey. Not only that, the same honor and respect you now have for yourself will lovingly extend to all beings on the planet. So if you just want to take a minute to just write a word that stood out to you, a sentence, or just an overall sense of anything additional for you. About 10 seconds. And you can always go back. You can always go back after today and add more to your journal as well. This is a very abbreviated version today. Wow, that was powerful. Snake being our first card. I can't help but think that's exactly why I'm doing the work I'm doing now, is because of Snake helping me get to this point. So the second prompt is, what does your inner child need from you? In this moment, what does your inner child need from you? We have lion and courage. So if you want to just write in your journal, and I'll let you know when the time is up. About lion and courage. And what does your inner child need from you? And you have 1 more minute to finish up. Any last thoughts? So lion and courage, how perfect. We were talking about this earlier too. So lion energy is here. Oh, so from the guidebook, again, listen for a word, a sentence, just the overall feeling. Lion stands confidently and nobly upon, upon the abundant planet as the sun's luminous rays spread positive energy and an invigorating vibration across the universe. This is your time to soak up every ounce of earned wisdom you've accomplished to this point in your expedition. You understand when you honor and give attention to all of your aspects, self-respect elegantly rises to the surface and takes center stage as you lovingly feel supported from the inside out. Having done the brave and courageous inner work of examining and releasing emotional wounds keeps you bonded to fear. Keeping you bonded to fear, you've been granted the gift of clarity and a sanctuary of inner peace. You stand in your power and welcome in a rush of acceptance for your life instead of engaging in the angst of struggle. The mask has come off, and the mane of your truth flows with gentle strength as you proudly show the world who you are. Like the sun continues to transmit its healing rays to the planet and all its inhabitants, your soul vibrates at a refreshing level, adding a lustrous glow to the world. So if you want to take about a minute to add to your journal from that. All right. The third prompt is what will help your inner child feel supported at this time? What will help your inner child feel supported? And we have, let's see, feeling like the bottom card. What will help your inner child feel supported at this time? And we have firefly and shine. If you want to take time to journal about what firefly and shine means for you and your inner child to feel supported. You have about 1 more minute. So firefly and shine. So glowing and light as air, firefly moves with a gleeful certainty through the cycles of nature, and understanding a deep connection with all that is becomes integral to their well-being. It is said firefly provides humans from long ago with light to illuminate their huts and mark their paths. Take this into your being as a reflection of the work you've already done to shine a light on the dark within yourself, so you can release struggles you've endured. Your path ahead is illuminated with clarity because of this important work. As you move forward, continue to cultivate this newfound awareness you've experienced. This will help in those times when you feel the need to dim your light once again and move into a time of quiet introspection. The rejuvenating energy you replenish during those reflective times will beautifully serve as your guide, showing you when it is time to move back out into the world and sparkle once again. Remember, timing is everything. Nothing can be forced. Fully embrace the feminine flow by consciously allowing your own unique inner movement to light the way. There may be more roadblocks ahead, so remember to embrace the wise observer within, who will help you navigate past patterns trying to take you off course. The more you are thoughtfully and lovingly aware of the many aspects of who you are, the more willing you are to shed what no longer fits. As those healed layers of yourself fall gently to the wayside, your essence becomes even brighter, and you serve as a beacon of light and hope for others to do the same. I'm kind of watching the time, so if you want to take about 30 seconds to add anything else to your journal. So the last prompt and the last card we're going to pull is around the question of, what does your inner child most want you to know at this time? What does your inner child most want you to know at this time? We have bear and introspection. So again, I'm being a little cognizant of the time to make sure we have enough to wrap up here. So let's do this for about 2 minutes. Bear and introspection. Give about 30 seconds to finish up. So Bear and Introspection from the guidebook is from deep in the heart of the den. Bear calls upon you to tap into the wealth of knowledge you have stored within. This inner realm is where your power lies. Going there requires introspection, and at times you may feel like you aren't making progress. It's about trusting the process as necessary to your growth. Bear invites you to nestle in and lightly ease into your subconscious. Do this by slowing down your breath, letting go of hurry, and intentionally shifting your focus inward. It's this exquisite and sometimes uncomfortable space of in-between worlds where wisdom patiently awaits. This is a call to respect all cycles and seasons of life. It is then your awareness can shift with ease and your ability to see the gifts of each season expand tenfold. When you honor the call of the inner voice holding your truth, you are awakened to new levels of understanding the self, being grounded in appreciation for all aspects, making you unique. You stand mightily and lovingly in your power, ready for new adventures. Life feels so much sweeter as you step with the utmost confidence into your continued and evolving becoming. So if you want to take 30 seconds just to add anything more to your journal. Wow. When I read cards, I read them as a story in motion. And I just have to say this because I can't hold all the cards up at one time. So we have transformation and lion. So we are continually transforming as human beings, becoming a better version of ourselves, right? But in that transformation, it takes courage. It takes courage to continue to do that work. But as we do it, our light gets brighter and brighter, and we continue to shine into the world. And at first, I couldn't understand how Bear was part of this as a story in motion. But that it reminds me of the spiral. Our life is a spiral that we go inward and then we come back outward. So you've done the transformational work. It took courage, and you shine in a different way every time you do that. And then you go back into the cycle again, whenever the timing is for that. So I just want you guys to take time to honor your inner child this week. Take her on a date, a play date. Maybe you're going to create art. Maybe you're going to work more in your journal with the cards or other oracle decks as well. So thank you. I hope that was helpful and insightful for everybody.
Look at all the clapping, the warm
I know. I
clapping.
love doing this.
Thank you for taking us through that insightful exercise and gifting us your cards and pulling it together as a story, which makes sense. Do the process and repeat, do the process and repeat, and the invitation, what to do this week. So I've opened up the chat. We're a small enough group. We have time for any questions for Barb or sharing of your experience if you like. You can just raise your hand or write in the chat if you're more comfortable, because we're a small group, so you don't have to raise your digital hand. So anybody that would like to speak or ask, please go ahead. Laura Lee.
Hi, Barb. Thank you so much. As you started today, I thought gosh, she reminds me of Tammy. And you're like soul sisters. And that's quite an honor in my book because
It's a very much an honor. I really feel it. Thank you, Laura Lee.
um, so I did a lot of work with Tammy this summer and really felt light come from the hard work that I did in getting rid of some of my history. And I've been sick in bed for a few days, and I was thinking, oh, I need to see Tammy again, but I can't really afford it. Oh, I have to listen to the meditations. And then this came up today. So your insight and your beautiful cards really touched me. Thank you. And thank you for taking the shame away from being stuck in old patterns. And I would like to buy some cards. So if you could tell me how to do that, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. I know Christine will be sending the links out, but the easiest way is through my website. Yeah, but she'll be sending them. Thank you so much for what you shared. That touches me as well very deeply. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura Lee, for sharing. And I'll just go to the chat. Barb, there's a couple of things from Riley, who says, thank you so much. It was beautiful guidance and so helpful. And she loves your writing too, Barb.
Thank you, Riley.
And Jana echoes, Laura Lee, are your cards available to purchase? Yes. I don't own any, but I love them and I resonate with them. Thank you, Jana.
Oh, thank you, Jana.
So I'll talk about my follow-up email in a few minutes. I just want to allow more space for the Q&A. So Linda, go ahead, please.
Thank you both. This was incredibly powerful this morning because my inner child woke up feeling very afraid. And as soon as I entered this space and your first question, this sense of safety just enveloped me. And the reading of the cards just allowed me to connect with what she needs, but also what she knows. And that the strongest message I got was, you've got this, girl. You've got this. Because I'm in a major life transition right now. And it was, and the descriptions of your cards in your book, Barb, were just so powerful. Just so much jumped out at me. And I love the fact that you spoke to the spiral because, we can be the firefly, but then we've got to come back. Something else will come up. And the layers, I think that's what I'm learning the most is we shed it in layers. Yeah. But if we hold on too long, that's when we get in trouble. That's why things like this and oracle cards and in your readings, which I've done that are wonderful, really, really helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Thank you so much, Linda. Yeah, it's been such an honor to work with Linda on some readings. Just such a big heart and a pure soul. I just love what you got out of today too, Linda. Yeah.
I do have to say too, as soon as you started, your part of the interview, Kit came up and jumped in my lap, and I was holding her the whole time you and Christine were talking.
Aw.
Beautiful. And thank you, Linda, for sharing how your little felt coming in. And I'm grateful that she felt safe because she was scared. And just going to go to the chat and then come back to see if anyone else has any comments. Melissa shares in the chat. Thank you so much, Barb. This was very timely for me. I'm going in and out of introspection to find, oh, I can't quite read it because I got something on top of it. Can you see it? Because wants to go
where I want, she's introspection about where she wants to go within the animal communication world for her studies and future work.
Yeah. Great. It's just that I have a comment thing on top of it. Unfortunately, it blocks it. So I'm so glad, Melissa, to hear it was timely and supportive for you. When we support our inner child, we're always supporting ourselves. And Jana also shares, Barb, I feel I'm in a big transformation at this time and healing myself, and then can heal those animals I come in contact with who need healing, who need love, healing, and happiness. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You know, I just want to add to what Jana said there. how vitally important, I think you just hit the key thing there, Jana, is doing the work on yourself first, because we can't give from an empty vessel, right? And to know and recognize that you have to do the healing on yourself in order to be the best that you can for the animals that you want to serve is so, so important, so beautiful.
So we need to wrap up shortly. Are there any last questions or comments for Barb?
Thank you,
Mo.
Laura Leah, for loving my background. I'm in a little, I call it my Joyful Cause cottage studio my husband built for me back in 2009. It's separate from my house. So it's where I do my readings, my art, everything. So thank you.
And you can see a picture on her website. So Mo, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Barb. This was amazing. You have no idea how much these animals that came through resonated with me. Like, I've been doing a lot of healing lately, and Snake has come through, and she's never come through before. So that was incredible. Fireflies are in my backyard all the time, and I'm a Leo rising. I'm very much a Leo, and Bear is one of my guides. So it was beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when Bear came through, I was like, oh my God, this is for me.
Oh my God, I love
I have a question about when you do readings. Do you just do one animal at a time, or yeah, and then so if I had animals who are gone and animals who are here, would just be one?
Yeah, absolutely, just one. Yeah, we want to honor and respect and give the time to each individual one. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very jealous you have fireflies in your backyard.
I do. They're wonderful.
Oh, I miss them.
They do a little symphony for me and the elementals in the back. It's wonderful.
What state do you live in?
I live in Ontario. I'm a couple of hours away from
Oh.
Christine.
Okay. Oh, I
Yeah,
rarely see fireflies here anymore. So yeah.
I'm super lucky. I see them all the time, especially July and August. It's just wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Mo,
You
for
know,
sharing.
thank you.
We have time for one last question before we wrap up. So if anybody wanted to share, this is your chance. If not, we'll move on. Okay, great. So everyone who wanted to has had a chance to either speak or put in the chat. So everyone here tomorrow is going to get a follow-up email from me. It's going to arrive 24 hours after we started. It's going to have a few things in it. It's going to have a link to the replay. So if you want to walk through the questions more and you want to journal some more, if you want to digest the interview some more, you can. Thanks to Barb, you're also allowed to download it. So you can go back to it as many times as you want, because the link to download it is valid for, I believe, 7 days. So it is time sensitive, and I'll put the date and expiry. So just make sure you do that. I'm also going to include all the links to Barb. So you can email her, look at her website, follow her on social media, her cards and where you can buy them. I'm also going to include information about the beneficiary for today, the Friends of the Wisconsin Wolf and Wildlife. So thank you for supporting them as well. I'll include a snapshot of the donation that I'll make later today. You'll also get, importantly, all of you who wish to do a reading with Barb. As she's mentioned, she does written readings. She does ones with you and your animal family. She does ones just for you. And all the details she will, in the link that I'm providing, you're going to get 20% off any reading with her. So you're all eligible for that extra bonus for coming today. And now is the live draw for somebody that registered for today who will get a free reading with Barb. Mo is the winner, and she's here. It's a funny story. I usually do a random draw thing, one of those online, you key in everyone's names. And just before Barb and I met, 10 minutes before we all met with you, I was like, I forgot to do it. So I have a list of all your names. So I cut them all up and stuck them in a box, and out it came. So still very random. I think that's it, Barb. That's all I have.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So I want to thank Barb for being you and being on this journey, even though it wasn't what you expected. and working with the animals and sharing that, whether it's the dogs that you so beautifully supported and they supported you, the wildlife around you, the healing journey that you've been on, your honesty, transparency, and vulnerability to share it with the world, to so many others who are perhaps frightened and scared. That gives them hope and courage. And just for creating and sharing this with the world through your books, through your readings, and through this oracle deck. It's just been an absolute joy, honor, and privilege today to showcase you and your work. I found the card that got us started. She had flown to the side of my desk, so she was holding space. There's just one more message here I want to read. Oh, you're very welcome, Riley. She's thanking me as well. But basically, I think we've covered it for today. I'm so grateful all of you that signed up to respect yourself, to support yourself. You are worthy. You are deserving of this. Keep going, big you and little you. And all of you that have joined for the replay. And now I would like to invite you all to unmute for a group good thank you to Barb and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. This is so rewarding for me as well. And I learn from everybody else and it adds to me as well. And I just want to say, it's ditto Riley. Thank you so much, Christine. I'm so glad, we got to talk ahead of time and put this together. I'm just very grateful for you and your work in the world as well. So thank you.
So now you can unmute and thank Barb. Thank you, Barb, for your kind words. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Barb.
Barb.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Thanks, Barb. Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Christine.
Thank you. Bye.
Happy Saturday. Have a good weekend,
Yeah.
everyone.
Take good care.
Really
Bye-bye.